This is Share the Vision, presented by the Resource Center, a discussion of the programs and services of the Resource Center and about issues related to individuals with disabilities. Today, a double header. We'll be talking about both the Sprout Film Festival, that's the first part of our show, and then a little later on, we'll get into this year's annual Step Up for Autism event. They occur one right after the other later this month at the Reg Lene Center for the Arts downtown in the first instance, and here at the Resource Center's administrative offices in the second for Step Up for Autism. To further preview all of this, at the beginning of Share the Vision today, we welcome Steve Watterson, the Community Relations Director here at the Resource Center. Steve, thanks for arranging this fun edition of Share the Vision.
Hi, Dennis. How are you?
I say that because we have fun people in the room with us.
We have some really fun people in the room, and we're going to be talking about a couple of really fun events that will take place the last weekend of September, and they are open to everybody in the community.
Now, the Sprout Film Festival is Friday night?
Yes, Friday, September 28th at the Reg.
And then the Step Up for Autism event is?
The next morning, Saturday the 29th, at the TRC's administrative offices on Dunham Avenue in Celeron.
If I could have you and Vicky Bardo hold off for a moment on the Step Up for Autism events. We will start with the Sprout Film Festival, and I'm delighted to introduce once again two of the prime movers in bringing Sprout to Jamestown. Kevin Anderson, Assistant Director of Employment and Community-Based Services at the Resource Center. Kevin, thanks for joining us on Share the Vision today.
Thanks for having us, Dennis.
And Beth Germain, Support Options Administrator here at TRC. Hello, Beth. Nice to see you again as well.
You too, Dennis. Thank you.
I'm sure our listeners may have some sense of what the Sprout Film Festival is all about, but in case we're catching somebody who does not remember or has never been exposed to this before, if one or the other or both of you would like to just give a little background as to what people can see, how these films come to be for the Sprout Film Festival.
Sure. This is actually the fourth year that we're bringing Sprout Film Festival to the Reg. The Sprout Film Festival is an organization out of New York City, and they have been producing the Sprout Film Festival there for roughly 12 years. And what it is films either made by or about people with developmental disabilities. They're all short films. They range in time, usually anywhere from a couple of minutes. Some that we have had previously have been up to 30 minutes. This year, the longest that we have is roughly about 15 minutes.
And Beth, what is, because it's not the same films every year, they're always new, what are some of the things that you are bringing to Jamestown this year as part of the festival?
A lot of the films that we're showing are fun. There are a few films that are intense, I guess is how we would describe it. They're kind of real. What happens with people who have developmental disabilities as they are growing up. But most of them are fun and very light, and there's a good variety, and they come from a variety of different countries, from Ireland, Australia, the United States, Scotland, are some of the films that we're featuring this year.
Have you seen the films?
We've seen them many times, yes.
Now, why is that the case? Is it part of the selection process that you watch these?
Yes, we Kevin and I initially screened films from Sprout. Kevin usually requests them to come from Anthony DeSalvo.
Let me take a moment here from the studio to say this about Anthony DeSalvo, the founder of the Sprout Film Festival, begun in 2003. Sprout is the first and only festival to exclusively showcase films featuring people with developmental disabilities. You can learn more about him at gosprout.org.
And he gives us a little collection to look at, and then we go through those and narrow them down. And then we have a selection committee who meets to kind of do the final decision.
This is really quite a process then.
Yes, yes.
How many films were in the aggregate to begin with? That many?
You originally sent us about 20, and then Beth and I went through those, and we narrowed out some. And so we say we need you to add some more to the list because we don't necessarily haven't found what we were looking for so far this year. And it was interesting this year because there's one film that we've actually looked at 3 different times, 3 different years, and it hadn't made the cut. And this year it was one that we felt that we really wanted to have as part of the festival for this year.
It's a very interesting process that goes along with this. In order to help our listeners a little bit, but not spoil the show for anybody, I want both Kevin, and you, Beth, to pick one film and just expand on it a little bit for us. Now, I don't know which of you wants to go first, but you'll get the claim on all of them, and then the next person will get the full claim reduced by one.
That is really tough to pick one that I think is my favorite. I think the one that I will talk about a little bit is called 100% Myself, and it's really the Banff Film Festival meets the Sprout Film Festival. It centers around a young woman with autism who is a rock climber, and it's just a really nice film. It's about 6.5 minutes long. She's out of Scotland, but I think it's inspirational to see her climbing and climbing a pretty intense rock wall.
Banff, of course, is Banff Mountain Film Festival, which also comes here in the spring of the year through the Roger Tory Peterson Institute. And as Banff Mountain might suggest, this is feats of the daring on behalf of all kinds of individuals, including someone who's been diagnosed on the autism spectrum. This film is about her as opposed to being shot by her?
Correct.
Okay. One down, one to go. Beth Germain.
Well, I'm gonna pick between Sasquatch and Superman. And that's kind of a fun film, and it's about a young man with Down syndrome, and he kind of goes through the film and explains kind of who he is, and his aunt actually is the director and filmer, or
Videographer.
Made the film about him. And he actually changes his name to Clark, like Clark Kent, and legally did that, and it's just kind of great to kind of see that his family and the people who care about him just totally accept him for who he is, and they accept his new name. So it's kind of a fun documentary to watch.
And the overall, thank you for both highlighting one of the films in the series. The overall impact this year, as you have and the committee have chosen these, the selection process leads me to wonder if you were sort of driving toward a goal, something that you want the audience to walk away with, an emotion or sense of emotions as they leave the Sprout Film Festival this year?
I think this year it's really about people accepting their disability and embracing it and having other people embrace it and just kind of being okay with it instead of trying to hide it. And a lot of the different films really kind of touch on that, and I think that I can think of 3 that just really bring that home, that it's okay to be me with a disability.
And how many films are in the selection, again, that people will see?
We have 11 this year. And we're roughly about an hour, probably after everything's said and done, an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And this is at the Reg Lene Center for the Arts on Friday, September 28th at 7:30. And what is the cost of admission?
That is free.
Absolutely free for people to go.
It is. We have tickets available for people. It's really more of a promotional item to have people remember to save the date and come and join us. But 7:30 at the Reg, free admission. You do not need a ticket to come, but if you would like to have a ticket, please feel free to give us a call at 485-4641 and ask for myself, and we'll arrange to get some tickets in your hands, or you can stop by at 200 Dunham, and we have tickets available at the front desk.
485-4641. To repeat that number one more time, this is not the first Share the Vision program that we have done promoting the Sprout Film Festival, and I know that I've asked this question before, but maybe it bears repeating or bears answering again, and that is this. Why should people who do not have a disability or are closely associated with someone in that community or someone who works here at the Resource Center, why should others in the public be interested? Why should they attend the Sprout Film Festival?
I think that it is a way to understand a large portion of our population and vital members of our community that a lot of people who don't work in our field don't have the opportunity to interact with. And I think it just brings a different look at what people with disabilities are able to do and their involvement in the community.
Do you want to add anything to that?
I totally agree with Kevin. You know, it's and like Kevin said, sometimes when people are not mingling with people with disabilities, you don't always understand the diversity and understand that it's accepting who people are and just celebrating that with them, as opposed to being ashamed or not knowing how to interact with people with disabilities. So
we're going to step up to autism in just a moment here. The one other thing that comes to my mind, though, as we talk about the Sprout Film Festival this year, and that is, it was not that long ago in which only a very select number of people in our society were able to make short videos. That has changed completely. And now everyone from 8-year-olds to 85-year-olds are making short videos all the time. It might be interesting for people to go just to experience what these movies are like, these films are like from that perspective in terms of what you can accomplish in a short period of time in terms of telling a story.
Absolutely, and I think that there's a couple films that kind of stand out that bring that to light. There's a movie called Making Waves, and it centers around Max Macaulay, who's a professional dancer, and the videography in this movie is just absolutely amazing. And it just it definitely was a well-done quality movie. Another movie that I don't think is probably as professionally done, but it goes to of people wanting to write a story and tell a story and be actors, and that's In Your Dreams, Boy. And it's a group of people who decided to write a script and make a movie, and it's kind of fun, and it's just a way to show their ability to make a movie that's a little bit different.
So they just started, let's make a movie, and it went on from there.
Yep.
I can see that happening in a lot of households, family reunions, that sort of thing today as well. Sprout Film Festival, Friday, September 28th at the Reg Lene Center for the Arts. Time permits, I'll recap that again when we get to the conclusion of Share the Vision today. But now it's time to move 12 hours or so later to the annual Step Up for Autism event. And we are recording in the Lucy Lane room. I didn't say this at the beginning. I probably should have. The Lucy Lane studio, I promised Steve Watterson I would say, here at the Resource Center between the first and the second floor of your extraordinary administrative offices on Dunham Avenue, just outside Celeron. Next to join us is Vicki Bardo, Development and Events Manager from Filling the Gap, associated with the Resource Center. Hello, Vicki.
Good morning, Dennis.
It's always nice to have you on the radio as well. Should we get Steve Watterson in on this conversation?
Absolutely.
Beth Germain has willingly given up her microphone.
Willingly and gladly, I think.
Surrendered her microphone to Steve Watterson so that we can do the Step Up for Autism part of this. So, Steve, welcome back to the show. Step Up for Autism. Let's get the basic details in terms of time, date, place, since we're talking about two events here today. This one will occur here at Dunham. When? And just fill that in a little.
Well, it's going to be on Saturday, September the 29th, right here at 200 Dunham Avenue in the Conference Center, which is around the back of the building. The festivities will begin at 9 a.m., and we have a lot going on. We have children's activities and face painting and a bounce house, and we also have informational tables and stations that will be set up regarding autism and the services provided to those folks set up in the Conference Center. At 10 o'clock or thereabouts, we will have our welcome and opening ceremonies, and we'll kick off with a walk down to the lake where we take a beautiful stroll. Hopefully it's a great day. Go down by the hotel, turn around, and come back up where we will have some food available, and then we also have some Chinese auction items and basket raffle, which is always a big hit. But the highlight also is our sweets auction, which will be at noon.
And this sweets auction, I recall now observing part of it last year, and this is not one or two cakes.
No, it's not one or two cakes. Last year, I think we had 32 cakes and sweets and different items for auction, and we were very successful, and it's a popular event. So this year, of course, we're going to bring that back and try to make... Last year, we made $2,200 alone on the sweets auction. So we will see this year what happens. We get donations from local bakeries. We get a lot of input and participation from folks who don't necessarily have a bakery or a storefront, but they do it in their home, and it's the creations that they have are unbelievable. So we're going to see. It's always really fun to see what they come up with.
I would like you and Steve to just answer a couple of questions that come to my mind about Step Up for Autism here on September 29th. It is an awareness-raising event, obviously. What are the things that you would like to make us aware of? What should we be thinking about before, during, and after regarding autism?
Well, I think for me, the main thing is that a lot of the families come together, and it's a chance for them to network. It's a chance for them to pick up information and the latest and greatest about what's new in the field, the services that are offered, those kinds of things. And we keep it kind of, not low-key, but we keep it calm, I think, because a lot of the folks that are autistic, they don't like the loud music and the bands and that kind of thing. So it's kind of a fun day for them, we hope. There's also children's activities that are sensory sensitive. So keep that in mind when you're planning to come on out for this event.
It just occurs to me to respond to that by saying in the world of bright lights and loud music and jarring things around us all the time, even people who are not on the autism spectrum might enjoy a couple of hours in this kind of environment.
Were you at the WOW event?
I won't go any further with it. But the other thing that I wanted you to address is you do this as a fundraiser as well. Tell me about that, because you mentioned the amount of money that was raised for the sweets auction. Do you have a goal? What does the money go for? Fill in that part of the picture a little.
I don't think that we have a goal for how much we're going to get this year. We want to see a lot of people come out. Well, it was not more than a dozen years ago that autism really wasn't that out there in the public very much, and then it just sort of exploded in terms of the awareness and recognition of it. So it's an opportunity for families to come together, as Vicki said, be around others, for the community to come together and show their support for folks around the autism spectrum, because everybody with autism, nobody is exactly the same. It's such a wide-ranging condition. And the money that comes in goes to a few different things. I think most of it goes to our Success program. Kevin, you're kind of in charge of Success, right? So you should talk about that.
Sure. Success is a social skills program that is offered primarily during the school year at this point, but we try to offer it on a weeknight as well as on Saturdays. And it's really an opportunity for the instructor plus a staff or two to work with. The most that we have is 8 kids at a time, and it's really about social skills and how to communicate with others, how to act appropriately in different environments. So we spend some time mostly at our 8th Street location, but we also head out into the community and do some activities as well.
And this is primarily for young people who've been diagnosed as being on the autism spectrum?
Correct. Anyone from between the ages of 8 and 18.
And other things that the money would flow to?
That's the main focus, is the Success program. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think way back, these services weren't offered in Jamestown. People had to travel to Erie. So I think that part of the Step Up for Autism and why it was started by a group of parents with our assistance wanted to make sure that that service was available in their backyard. So I think that that's kind of how the whole event started.
Does the Resource Center provide other services for families with young people who have been diagnosed as being on the autism spectrum?
We do. We have a couple of different programs. We have our Saturday Respite program, which runs on Saturdays, obviously, from the hours of 10 to 2. And that gives the opportunity for 14 kids each Saturday to come. And there's really no rehabilitative element to it. It's really just to come and have fun. We go to the Chautauqua County Fair. We go swimming at JCC. We go to Home Depot the first Monday of every month for the kids' workshop. The current person who's kind of making the schedule and coming up with stuff did a great scavenger hunt at Easter time, combined Easter egg hunt, scavenger hunt. So they just have a really good time. Gives the parents an opportunity to do what they need to do on Saturday and gives the kids a great opportunity to interact with their peers. And then we also can provide supports to people through our community rehabilitation program. So again, giving parents the time to do what they need to do and have a little bit of a break from their caregiving responsibilities. And then they also get to, the youth can spend some time in the community, at home, wherever, learning some social skills and learning how to do things for themselves independently.
I took that departure because it occurred to me that there's someone listening to this radio program today who has a family member who has recently been diagnosed as being on the autism spectrum, or they suspect that might be the case, that the Resource Center could be an ideal place to turn to for services and support aside from this one day a year. There are things that happen here throughout the year, throughout the schedule, in a variety of ways that could be of assistance to them.
Absolutely. There's a lot of different programs, and if someone's looking to confirm their beliefs and get that diagnosis of autism, the Resource Center is there to help them with that process.
If people want information on this one-day event, the specific one, there is a website, Steve, and I'll have you or Vicki give that website so people can go to that and follow along with it right now if they want to.
They can go to www.stepupforautism.com, where you can find out all the information about the event and register if you'd like.
You have used once again this year your very meaningful, has become iconic, I think, for this graphic that says Step Up for Autism, and it has a small set of stairs that says raising awareness, creating friendships, embracing acceptance, and there are a number of people, including one in a wheelchair holding hands. I've always found that to be very effective and sort of a nice visual description of what you do here on that final Saturday in September. I do have to ask this question, though, since some of the event is planned outside. If there should be inclement weather, the event goes on anyway.
We will walk in the rain. So if it looks like rain, bring an umbrella, bring your raincoat, bring your rain boots, whatever you have to do. If it's lightning and thundering and, that kind of thing, we might have to delay, maybe. But hopefully that won't be the case. It's only a mile walk, and I think we could hopefully get that in sometime within that time frame. Weather dependent is just kind of you never know around here, and it's always fun.
Always fun. Quote Vicky Bardo on that one, folks. Always fun. The registrations you would like in advance, if you can get them, families, teams, others who want to get together and kind of join in advance can do this. Right,
absolutely. And you're going to pay $20 entry fee, but that affords you an awesome T-shirt. And if you want to come and just walk, there's absolutely no charge, but you can certainly partake in the basket raffle and the sweets auction. But $20 is for the shirt, and there's a place where you can collect donations, which we have folks that it's been a friendly competition between 3 or 4 families over the years, and they raised in the thousands of dollars. So it's really kind of fun because they get everyone involved in their family, and they bring all their family, and it's just kind of fun to watch how that unfolds throughout the day. We also have some trinkets for sale. Step Up for Autism. We have the rubber wristbands and pins and soap and that kind of thing. So there's really something for everybody. It's not a long day. It's kind of crammed together, but it's well worth the trip down to 200 Dunham.
We're getting close to the end of Share the Vision. We have about 5 minutes left, and I want to recap the Sprout Film Festival and say a couple of other things about Step Up for Autism. So one more departure on my behalf. But I just have to say, reflecting on the year so far here at the Resource Center, you have always been capable of producing wonderful T-shirts. And the wide variety of designs and things that you have done for T-shirts is really, if you were to see them all together in the same place at the same time, I don't know if these are collected anywhere, Steve.
Oh, yeah.
If by collected you mean in a pile in my office, then absolutely they're collected.
You've got your fair share there, don't you?
But
one of the pile.
but what you have accomplished here with T-shirts, I mean, the sky's the limit. And when you say awesome T-shirts, I'm reflecting back on Greg Peterson night and wondering what you can do to eclipse that, but I'm sure you will make every attempt to do so because those were so stunning, the tie-dye shirts that were done for Greg and his night at the ballpark this year. I cannot wait to see what's going to happen with Step Up for Autism.
Well, it's funny you say that because we run a logo contest every year, and we ask the community and Resource Center staff and consumers, whoever wants to get involved, submit a design. And this year, now I'm sorry to say the young man's name is escaping me, but it's an awesome design, and it's a set of stairs where they're like reaching out to each other, kind of helping them go up the stairs, and the stairs are made of puzzle pieces, which is the symbol of autism. But anyway, that will be displayed proudly on the front, and all of our sponsors will be recognized on the back, and they're really sharp this year. They're purple.
Was his name Justin Long? Does that sound right?
I believe you're correct.
Justin Long.
I think things are running together for me today.
Now, you mentioned sponsors. Any you want to mention on the radio?
Well, we have our corporate sponsors, which are Saxton Coker and Brown & Brown. Without their support, as the many, many others that will be sponsoring this event, we're still gathering those folks, plus all of the sponsors that donate the cakes and sweets. So the list is very, very long, Dennis.
We're going back now, at the conclusion of Share the Vision, to Beth Germain and Kevin Anderson to just kind of recap, if you did not hear the early part of the show, just want to give equal time at the end here to the Sprout Film Festival, which Kevin or Beth will be when again this year?
It will be Friday, September 28th at 7:30 at the Reg. So come on downtown. And I did fail to mention that the reason that this is able to be a free event for the community and a gift to the community is because of the Filling the Gap Incorporated's generosity. So thank you to them.
So they are sponsors of your event then?
Correct.
To make this possible. And how many films this year?
11.
Takes about an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half?
Right.
Is there anything else that goes along with the program that people see, or is it just one film after another to kind of run in sequence there at the
It's
Reg?
pretty much one film after the other, just kind of like the Banff Festival, which you had referred to earlier.
And this will be an ideal opportunity for people to just come and watch the films and immerse themselves in an understanding of what persons with disabilities can accomplish, whether they're in front of the camera or behind it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And the tradition of Sprout is growing. I mean, in terms of the response from the community, you're impressed with how people have come together over 4 years to watch these films, Kevin?
Absolutely. You know, the first year, Anthony said that basically the choir was in the audience that day, and it was a lot of TRC people that receive supports and services through the agency and people that work for the agency. And we've seen a nice, steady increase of people from the community that have been coming that really have no affiliation with anyone with a disability. And their response has always been great, and we welcome them back, and we look forward to more people from the community taking advantage of this great opportunity.
And how is it that you two became so committed to the Sprout Film Festival? I mean, this is not, for either one of you, your ordinary line of work day today, is it?
No.
That was pretty certain.
I think Kevin and I had an opportunity, and Steve was involved with that several years ago when we were talking about the Sprout Festival, and Steve was trying to figure out a way to get it to Jamestown. And
Without me having to do any of the work.
yeah.
Steve says without him having to do any of the work off microphone.
And then Kevin and I were talking about it and got permission to go forward, and so that's kind of how it just happened.
And it will be this year right before the Step Up for Autism Walk. Sprout will be Friday night, September 28th at 7:30 at the Reg, and then the Step Up for Autism event the following morning here beginning at 9 o'clock. Here, meaning the Dunham Avenue headquarters offices of the Resource Center. Now, it's been an interesting half hour here only because we have 5 people in the room and 4 microphones, so I need to unhook mine for a moment. And Steve's going to get Beth's back again so we can finish this conversation. Anything you want to say about either the Sprout Film Festival or the Step Up for Autism event?
No, they're both just great events. And, you know, for the Step Up for Autism Walk, we're really hoping that school groups will come out. I think in the past, certainly, and today, kids with autism have a tough time in school because they can be socially awkward, and that tends to have them be ostracized, and it's getting better. But Step Up for Autism is an opportunity for classmates and others to come together and really show their support for their peers and take part in this event. So we really would encourage any school groups out there looking for something that they want to do as a community support initiative to consider putting together a team and taking part in Step Up for Autism.
Let me just say this at the conclusion. For more information on the Sprout Film Festival, go to resourcecenter.org/Sprout. For more information on the Step Up for Autism Walk, you may find that at stepupforautism.com. To Steve Watterson, Kevin Anderson, Beth Germain, and Vicki Bardo, thank you all for sharing the vision today.